Alright, so I'm going to teach you how I do my clothing in ZBrush. So my method is this. So let's say I want to make a t-shirt, right? So what I do is I mask off my character. And let's see if, let's get right here. Let's make it like a semi, not... We want to make it a short sleeve, but we don't want to make it, you know, too short. So what we're going to do here is do that. We, what we do from here is pretty simple. We go over to our subtools list and we find where the thickness is, and we turn this to 0.00. What this will do is it'll make it to where the when you extract it, it's not going to give it internals. So if I click accept right here, and we get a good look at this, we get a good look of our current little t-shirt that we have in our subtool here. If we go down to deform, and we change the deform and we inflate this a little bit. Well, you want to unmask it first, but you now have the shirt, right? And it forms over the body. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a thing called Zerometer. Click on this, and sometimes by default it'll have adapt 5 on there, which is perfectly fine. We're going to click on this. So once it's down, you will see that the active points are now reduced by a large number. So we're at 11,000 now. We still want this to be a little bit lower. At least I want it to be lower. So I'm going to lower it down even further. 5,000 seems okay. If you want, you can go even further, about 2,000. So now you have a 2,000 thing. Now, the reason why I make this 0 point in thickness before extracting it. So let's go back to our body real quick to show an example. Say if I extract this at 0.04 and I click on extract. Oh, you know what? Sorry. 0.004, my bad. That's a little too thick for this example anyways. So once that's done, if you see the shirt, if you go into your poly groups, and let's change this color to a little bit brighter, unmask it. So what you will see now is you'll have internals, right? And you don't want internals, at least not at this stage. At this stage, you just want this part of it. You just want this grouping where it has no internals in it. Because the problem what happens is when you take this into Blender and start rigging it, once you automatically weight it, it will not automatically weight the internal parts of this. It'll make it to where it's a living hell to weight map it. So, to just get rid of the middleman, I just make it to where it has no thickness and it just has, you know, the internals are not there. So when I do export this, I can just put Solidify on it when I'm done rigging and weighting it. So we have our shirt, right? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over here to Dynamic Subdivision. We click on this, and let's increase the smoothness to maybe about 4. So you'll notice no real difference, right? But if I go over here, let's say I want to have this portion of the shirt have more folds to it, right? So I just go over here to Dynamics. Well, first I'm going to mask this part off, in the places I don't want to be affected by the stuff. Actually, no, let's just do this. As you can see, I didn't click on something, so if you go over here to Dynamics and you go Collision Volume, it'll estimate what's going on around it. So the inflate's going to be a little bit different. If I go on Simulation, it'll give me the simulation I want. And we can switch up some stuff. Granted, now I have saggy titties. But you can see that it's working, right? So if I want to say, I just want the lower part to be, you know, manipulated a bit. So we're just going to do that. Go over here. And so the simulation's that, but now with my other, like, cloth brushes, so let's say I use Cloth Move. Now, you'll notice that I can't get to a certain point on my model because I have it to where inside Dynamics, in your collision volume, there's a thing called Inflate. What this does is it allows you to have a certain border that will interact and won't interact with the model mesh, like the mesh below it. It's kind of like, consider it like layers. So if I lower this down, say I want to recalculate this, and I lower this down to like, what, 4,000 something? If I run the simulation now, and I start moving my brush further, I can get closer to the body to make it almost skin tight. But this is how I do my clothing. So once I'm done doing this, and I have this all, like, say I want this to be the final result. I click on this, and what this will do, it will give me layers to my thing. So now you have your lower, and you have your upper. So with my upper one, I can add another thing to that, and let's say I want to have, like, seams on it, right? So let's put some seams. I'll just put some seams at the very bottom. Doesn't look good, but this is just the example, right? So now that I'm done with this, what I want to do is I want to export this. I'm going to name this like t-shirt high. I'm going to put this in a new folder on my desktop. I'm going to call this, you can't see it on my end, but so we're going to just call this tutorial. So t-shirt high. Now your best thing to do if you're exporting the high one is you want to make sure that when you're exporting the high one, it has no UV maps on it. Then go down to your low, and we're going to go and turn on Z plugin, go to Z master, and we're going to turn on, and we're just going to unwrap it. So now we have UV maps on it, and if you want it, you can't see it with layers, so if you want to see your UV map on your stuff, you go and click on work on clone. What this will do, it'll create a new subdivision for you, or a new a polymesh to work on the clone for. And we can go over here and we can go and check it. So now I have my UV stuff. And if you want to change the size and scaling of where it is, so like you can mask off certain zones of it, click on move, and like you can turn off, you know, some symmetry and like extend it and grow it and whatever you need to do to make it better. And once you have a, you know, your perfect UV map, if you have like polygroups and such, copy UVs, go back to your subtool where it has this, and you're gonna go back over here and you're gonna go and paste UVs. And now you have better UVs if you did edit them. Alright, so I need Alright. We're now in Blender. This is going to be very, very quick. I'm just going to import what I have already. So after exporting the t-shirts, you're going to go to the file, which is going to be ours as tutorial. We're just going to put that in there. So now we have the t-shirt here. Go over here and just, you know, turn this to smooth. So now we have the t-shirt in here. We can go over to our shading properties. And notice that we don't have anything on there. Well, now we get to go to another program. Well, at least I do, anyways. So we have the new shirt, right? It's going to pop up in a second. Boom. We have the UV maps we made inside of ZBrush. We're going to name this to like t-shirt. And now we want to bake some maps on it, right? So just go over here to bake. Change this to whatever rest. Okay, oh, you can't see it on my end. So I need to do something really quick. Alright, so as you can see over here, we have our baking settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change, let's say I'm going to make my resolution 4K. I'm going to go over here. If you have any color that's in from ZBrush, you're going to turn this to vertex color. We don't have it on this t-shirt, so it doesn't matter. And then right here, we're gonna click on this little button here. We're going to use our high poly that we exported. We're going to turn this to about 4x for anti-aliasing. And some people will change this. I like to change this to 15. You can keep it at 32 if you want. And then boom, you bake it. It might take a little while depending on how complex your thing is. And notice how I grabbed our seams that were in it. So we have our seams that are showing up here. Boom, that's done. And then from here, all I really do is like let's say I need fabric, right? So I'm just gonna type in fabric. And I want to go with like, for this example, let's go with like cotton weave. I can go up here, I can change this down to be a little bit lower, so that way it's not just right up in your face. We can change the color. Boom, that's done. Granted, now notice these right here, this is because I didn't smooth out the model when we were in ZBrush, I can always go back and do that. So we're just going to export that now. We'll put that in the folder that we made earlier called tutorials. I'm going to call this t-shirt textures. Select, export. And now I'm going to take us back to Blender real quick. Alright, now that we're back in Blender, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take this, I'm going to duplicate it with Shift-D. I'm going to add a vector normal map. Click it right here. We're going to connect this down to the little slot over here called normal map. I'm going to connect this right here. So I'm going to add this. We're going to go and find the file that we're going to go find the file folder. We're going to put normal map OpenGL. And we're going to change this to non-color. And then at the very top here, find our color map. And now you have your shirt. And now you can rig it up and all that good stuff. And once you're done rigging, you then go over here, find Solidify. You don't have to do Solidify, but if you want that kind of like thickness inside of it and such like that, you can do it. And boom, your shirt's done. There's other methods to doing this too, but yeah, this is one of the quicker methods I can teach. Hopefully this helps.